This is Mary McCosker, and I will be interviewing Donna Lenhardt from the Lafayette Library. It is November 25th, 2008. Okay, talk to me about your first childhood memories of libraries.
I guess the earliest memories I have of libraries go back as far as grammar school. And at our public school, we didn't have a library per se, but in first grade, once a week, it was on a Monday, and I'll always remember, the teacher would get books from who knows where, and she would line them up in the chalk tray. And then we were able to browse the collection, as it were, and we were able to select one book only, couldn't go home with us, had to remain at school, and that was kept at our desk. Eventually, we did get a library, but that wasn't until I was in middle school, what they called middle school. And then, however, before being into junior high or middle school, I lived in a city, so libraries were very accessible to me. And so some of my fondest memories are walking to the library. I had a number of them to choose from, and that's how I spent my Saturdays.
So reading was really important to you growing up?
It was everything to me. I can't remember. It was to the point where my mother would have to ask me to go outside and play. And if you grew up in Buffalo, New York, and those fine days are few and far between, you were sent outside. But if I went outside, I usually went with a book.
Can you remember any special books that you really enjoyed?
I thought about that, and probably picture book wise, Caps for Sale, always a biggie. But I've read the Dr. Dolittle series. I love those. I was kind of an animal based, even though we never grew up with pets, and maybe that's why. And Hugh Lofton's the Dr. Dolittle series, and Albert Pacentar, all books on dogs, anything I could get my hands on. Never got too interested in horses, but dogs, kind of a highlight. And also, anything by Lois Lenski, still a total favorite.
The Littles.
I don't think it's Littles.
No.
But if you would see her illustrations are so
no,
distinctive.
I remember her,
yeah, maybe like the Little Engineer, the Little Cowboy.
I thought there were people, but maybe I'm wrong.
There is a series. I think it's by her.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you grew up in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
So your entire childhood was in Buffalo?
Childhood in Buffalo, second largest city in the state of New York.
Really?
So it's a fair-sized city, and we lived right in the city.
Okay. And what awareness of community did you have while you were growing up there?
Well, we didn't have a car, so I was very aware of the community. We walked everywhere, so I knew the fishmonger. I knew the policeman Al on Fridays. He would give me a spin, put his hands under my arms. Now that I think about it, just twirl me around. It was the best. Knew the manager of the A&P. I knew the librarians by name. I had a very good sense of community. We were close to museums and parks and public space.
Do you have a big family?
No, a sister and a brother.
Okay.
And both mother and father were only children, so very small family.
Yeah. Okay. What about your education? I assume you were educated?
Yes, that it was. My father died when I was still in high school, and so we kind of thought that going to college wasn't even in the realm of possibility. But I was president of my senior class, and so I got a small scholarship and just got in that fall at a state school to teach. And at that point, then we started, once I was married after college, when we started moving across the country, I would attend pick-up classes toward a master's, but we'd just start and we would move again. And then it wasn't until we came to California and I pursued, other than doing some substitute teaching, that's when I pursued a degree in library science at San Jose.
So both you and Susan did it later on?
Yeah,
Okay. So it shows that even when you're old and decrepit,
that's
you
what
can
I
still
chose.
do it. So what were some of your work experiences, aside from being in the library?
Oh, okay. Well, teaching school.
Okay. Primary, elementary?
Elementary school. Mm-hmm. Doing a lot of substitute teaching. Worked in real estate a little bit, but I never had a license. I just kind of dabbled in that. Oh, I worked for, this is like a little, very minutia information, but for the Chinese Shar-Pei Club, and
wow.
you know the Chinese Shar-Pei talk. Well, the man this Mr. Morrison, who went over with President Nixon and brought the first Shar-Pei back, and that was in Danville.
Oh.
And then he worked from that point on to get the Shar-Pei dog recognized by AKC. So when we moved out here, I got a job in this office, but until these dogs went to AKC. So yes, these dogs have been a big part of my life, although I've never had one, so
Wow,
go
that's
figure.
interesting, huh? So as an adult, what were your early community experiences? You've been in Danville for quite a while?
Yes, we have. We've been there probably, let's see, like 21 years
okay.
or so. Always, no matter where we were, I always got involved with libraries, and either as a friend or a volunteer. And I was a docent for the University of Wisconsin Art Museum. Love that. And also at a brewery. And so I
Had a very interesting life.
right.
So how did you end up here at the Lafayette Ranch?
Well, once I graduated, and at that time I was still working at Danville, and so there was going to be no room at the inn there. This job opportunity opened up, and it was just, being in the right place at the right time, and it seemed to be just what I consider a great match.
How long ago was that?
5 years in October. I will have been
Oh,
here
you've
5
only
years.
been here 5 years?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought you were here a lot longer.
Mhm.
Okay. If you talk about a community as a place of mutual support, shared values, and acceptance of difference, how do you see the community of Lafayette meeting these goals?
Okay, I did take notes because I really thought about that one. And, Mary, looking at your book and reading from your book about the sense of community, because I haven't been there, I don't live here and I haven't been there that long, and just thinking that this community valued a library as early as 1915, I think it was, and put it in the corner of the post office. From that until here we are almost 100 years later with our brand new library and community center, I just think that's totally overwhelming.
That's pretty amazing.
It is amazing. And so I guess it gets back to the point. I think Lafayette, it seems to me, has always had a sense of community and a pride in community and a real purpose-driven community.
Okay. So I don't think I need to talk about your earliest memories of the Lafayette Library because it's...
Yeah, right. No, I would pass on that one.
And you don't personally use the library. Well, you do.
I do, but
not.
That wouldn't deserve...
How do you feel a library serves the community?
I personally feel it's the heartbeat of the community. And I haven't seen that more than I have right now. I just see it as the heartbeat.
Okay, so you weren't here in 1940.
No.
Nor were you here when they built the 62.
No, I wasn't.
Were you around when they did all the studies that are sort of the prelude to what we're doing now? At all the visions and task forces and not so much?
A little bit of that, but unfortunately, I work a 40-hour job, so I don't get a chance to get as involved as much as I would like to or could.
Okay.
I'm aware of what's going on, but
okay.
not fully participating.
Why is the new library important to you?
I guess and I thought about that too, and that's why I kind of made notes to myself. I see it much more than this huge edifice that I see up on Mount Diablo Boulevard. But how I see it as the cornerstone of this community, and I really see it as a legacy to the next generation.
That's great. That's great. Who have you observed making a real impact on the library? Anybody who stood out for this whole process, and why? I'm skipping down a little.
Yeah.
If there's anybody, maybe not. I'm just asking.
It's not that there's not. It's just that there are so many people involved.
Okay.
Yes.
What transformation have you seen in Lafayette concerning the new library?
The transformation, and I don't know, maybe this wouldn't be called a transformation. It's just the community awareness and the community involvement is so huge. I see it when I go to the schools. I'm asked about it no matter where I go.
Oh, that's neat. Have you seen an increase in community involvement? Obviously, it's sort of you're not so much on all the committees where you see, you sort
No, I'm not.
You're holding the fort down here.
But I know how involved the community is.
What's most exciting to you? From a point of view of somebody who's going to be there every day or most days. What's most exciting to you about this new library?
For me, right now, it's the anticipation. I feel like there's just like an electricity in the air when we talk about the new library, and I feel like it's a real palpable thing. I think it's all of the buzz about the new library. That is so exciting. I can't help getting excited every day when I come to the library and I stop at that signal. I always hope that I'll get caught there. Usually I want to just look, so I can just look. And when I have story time and the moms come in or the caregivers come in and say, it looks like it's almost done, you know, they always say that.
We wish.
But, you know, it is. It's happening. And I mean, if I feel that, and I've only been here 5 years, for all of you who have worked so long and hard on this, it must be really something.
Well, aside from the hot tub and the cabana boy and stuff, I mean, what for you personally in the job that you do here?
Yes.
What's you know, what are you looking forward to that you might not have here now, or what's thrilling to you?
Okay. Well, I really want to be some kind of a voice for the children, you know, in the community, and I know I'll be passing the torch to the next person, but I really want to be an advocate for the children. I want to design and implement programs that we haven't been able to do just because we don't have the space. I'd like to see there's still a need for more story times. You know, I do 4 a week plus Pajama-rama, but people want more, and I can see us being able to accommodate the needs of the community with help by there'll be more story time, more activities. I want to bring in, I'm anxious to see all these skilled resources that we will have that will carry out a lot of these programs. We'll be able to do that. We'll have the meeting rooms. There's going to be so much more that we can implement. I also have to continue to do more outreach because, you know, surprisingly, we still get people every day here who do not have library cards. So how are these people falling through the cracks? I just think now this library, those doors are going to open and they're going to find us. It's so exciting.
So that may answer this question, but why do you think that the citizens of Lafayette have responded so enthusiastically to this new project?
Well, because I think they value a sense of community, and I guess that's all I want to say. I think they really, they know the value of the community involvement.
And maybe you've answered this one too, so say so if you did.
Okay.
What outcome do you hope for most with this new library? What do you look forward to doing or using or enjoying the most?
Okay, pretty much some of the things that I talked about that, you know, I see that we'll be able to implement, but I just hope this is everything that people who work so hard and so tirelessly will be everything that they want it to be. And I also, what I'm looking forward to is seeing the faces of people when they come in.
That'll be so fun the first month.
Oh, and then some, I'm sure.
I sort of want to lie on the floor and just look up.
It's just incredible.
It was said that the internet would kill the printed word and libraries would become obsolete. What's your take on that?
Well, I tell you, I thought about that one too because that question is asked a lot. So I did a little research and I found out that there are over 4 billion unique publicly accessible websites. But of those 4 billion, only 6% have any educational background to it, if you can believe it.
Wow.
So anybody can publish a web page. There are no checks for accuracy or information or currency. I mean, the internet is mammoth in scale and scope. However, it's necessary. I'm not saying an evil, but it's something that we need. We need the internet, but we also need the printed word. And libraries, on the other hand, they have resources that are individually selected by trained professionals, and there's always someone qualified on hand to help you find that information.
That's great. That's a really good answer.
I really...
The lady who came up with this whole idea, Brenda Hepler, to do this oral history, she sort of our mantra is her mantra. Communities build libraries, but libraries build communities. And I think it's kind of a neat, because it's what we're trying to do here, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
This isn't going to be a gathering place, hopefully.
It is. It is. I think the ramifications of this library are really going to be far-reaching. And I think if people are going to look at it, hopefully it's going to be a model for future libraries. It's just wonderful to be on the ground floor of something as exciting as this.
Affecting or enhancing our sense of community. I mean, the library, I think, this is sort of a redundant question, but I mean, how do you think it'll bring this community together more than it does now?
I think it's going to generate the sense of community with people who are new to the area. but I think it's going to regenerate the sense of community with people who have lived here for a long time. I also thought that it's going to provide everybody a place to socialize and interact with each other, and the citizens are going to feel a real emotional connection with each other. It's just bound to happen.
So, anyone else you can think of that we should interview? Anybody comes to mind?
Like you said, Robbie.
No, I think she'd be great.
Yeah, because she will be great. She's Duncan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
she's been here longer than you and Susan, so she would be a really good one to talk to.
She's seen people come and go.
Yeah.
You know, she's the first one people talk to when they come in. Yeah, she.
Okay,
yeah.
definitely we'll do her.
Yeah.
That's good. So, anything else you'd like to say, or any other little comments, or?
No, it's I think it was nice to be asked a lot of, you know.
Well, you guys are on the front lines. So you see it in a different way. I mean, we're building something, but we're not going to be spending as much time there as you are. So I think it's neat to sort of see your feelings. Do you feel like you've been heard in this process? Do you feel like this building is going to be mostly what you want?
It's probably not realistic to think that you might be asked like what you would want, because, you know, we all move on. And if you ever heard that expression, you just put your hand in a bucket of water, and when you take it out, you know, you won't see where you've been.
Well, I'm not sure it's true with you and Susan.
Well, maybe not as much. Sometimes, you know, I have some strong feelings about space, but, I mean, look where we are right now. Look what it's going to be. I mean, how could you even point a finger? It's going to be, whatever it's going to be incredible.
It's going to be a process, too.
And it will be a process, absolutely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your...
Thank you, Mary.